Welcome to Knock Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live out of Kingston, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, the Twisted New Testament with Rabbi Stuart Federow. Tonight we're going to be discussing about the Christians using Daniel 9 to prove their whole story of Jesus being the Messiah. So here we go. Rabbi, welcome back. Thank you so much for tackling this thing. As awkward the timing is.
I enjoy tackling, let me tell you.
Okay. Well,
you know, it's
yeah,
almost to the point of stupidity. It really is.
Right.
You have, I don't even know where to begin. Daniel is not a prophet. He's not in the Jewish collection of the Tanakh. Daniel is not listed in the section called Nevi'im, called prophets. Why is Daniel not a prophet?
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. You never cease to amaze me. I've never even heard that before, and that is so true. And I know it's probably because most rabbis are saying it's stating the obvious, but I never actually thought about that before. That's pretty crazy. Okay, cool. Thank you for clarifying. Continue.
Well, you have to ask the question: why isn't Daniel considered a prophet? Okay. It's because Daniel didn't understand a single thing that was shown to him. He didn't understand. He wasn't relaying a message to the people of Israel. He wasn't standing on a podium raging against the king, whoever it was at the time. He wasn't speaking truth to power, is the modern way of phrasing it. Okay. He's not a prophet. Okay. He is shown various things, and then he says, duh, I don't understand. And then an angel has to explain it to him.
Okay.
That's one thing. Second of all, there is probably more mistranslation and more mistranslation that deal with the Daniel 9 verses than anything else in the Torah, in the Tanakh, in the Bible. Okay. There are, the Christian community bends over so backwards to make everything calculate and come at the right place that they make up things that don't exist. And if they did exist, would completely throw off the Jewish calendar accordingly. Nobody reads the Tanakh. Okay, nobody actually picks it up and reads it. Okay,
right.
and says, you know, here's what it says.
Right, for sure.
Okay, go by what it says. And everybody, especially the Christians, are just so, you know, putting blinders on to everything else that they skip the obvious. And I look, another thing that bothers me about doing this tonight, Daniel 9, and that is, if you just say the word history, oh, I'm sorry, I fell asleep.
Right.
I'm not a historian. I don't do history. I do theology and philosophy. I do popular theology. I do, you know, to me, it is. Have you ever heard the term "figures don't lie, but liars figure"?
Interesting. I haven't heard that, but that makes sense, right?
Or the joke where a company is trying to hire what's it called? A CPA. Okay. And they show the CPA a whole bunch of facts and figures. And he says, well, it looks like you've got a really bad deficit. Well, he doesn't get hired. The next guy comes in and they show him the same facts and figures and everything. And he says, well, it looks to me like, you know, you've got a deficit here. And of course, he doesn't get the job. Third guy comes in and he gets shown all these facts and figures, and he looks over and he goes, okay, I see I see what's going on here. How do you want it to read? He gets hired. The point is that that's what that's what the Christians are trying to do when it comes to the Daniel 9. They're trying to manipulate and recalculate and say, in order to get the end product, that the weeks end at the time of Jesus's birth, they then start manipulating when it starts and how do you count, and is it this many years or that many years, and it drives me crazy, and it's less than my favorite thing to have to talk about. Okay?
Right.
All right. Now, by the way, I'm still watching you spin.
There's people commenting on it, so wait, hold on. So it's on. I see what you're seeing.
No, here we go. I got it. Okay.
Okay, maybe I should do the same thing.
All right. Let me do my file. Okay. All right.
Okay.
And I got to tell you something. There's so much about this that I don't necessarily have down pat.
Okay.
To me, it's all history and manipulation and spin is the modern term. Everybody's got to put their spin on it. So I probably don't do this very well. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. And I'm going to have to keep my glasses on to be able to keep aware of what I'm doing.
That's okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wish we had a whole list. Let me rephrase that. I wish I had given you a whole list of verses to have real quick.
Well, it kind of caught you off guard, so it was definitely
that's okay.
Spontaneous. So.
All right. So what's the whole point of what's going on in Daniel 9? Okay, what is going on here? Daniel is coming up to the end of a certain period of time. And this is the exile of the Jews. Who is Daniel? Who is Daniel? Where's Daniel talking from?
Babylon.
Thank you. He's a Babylonian exile, probably a eunuch in the service of the king. Okay, so he's carried off into exile, and he is tired of being in exile, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. Okay? He's worried that the exile is going to last longer than is necessary. What's the whole point of the getting kicked out of the land? Okay, the initial 70 years. What's the point of getting kicked out of the land? Why were they kicked out of the land?
For breaking the Shemitah, right?
Yes, define that, please. I don't speak Hebrew. What's that word, Shemitah?
Isn't that the 7 year letting the land rest, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
From the Torah, we are told that every seventh year, okay, the land lies fallow. There's no growth that takes place on it. Okay, and everything is supposed to have given you enough food in the previous year that you don't have to live off the land in the seventh year. The seventh year is a rest. It's a year of rest for the land,
right.
Like the humans get a day of rest every year, every week. That's another thing that happens because we do this at night. I'm not always coherent, so I miss up the wrong words. All right. So Daniel chapter 9, verse 13 to 14. You want to bring that up real quick? Or
sure.
Okay.
Yep. 9, 13, 14. One second.
Daniel 9, 13, 14.
Let's go. Hold on here. Okay. Just a minute. And switch screens. And 13. Okay. And that should be right. Oh.
All right. Well, forget. Don't even bring it up. Okay.
Yeah, just read it.
The point is that Daniel is saying that the bad stuff came upon them, okay, because they didn't treat God's commandments with respect.
Right.
That's whatever. Summary.
Okay.
Okay. So for 70 years, they didn't follow the
The laws of Shemitah.
Right. Okay. What exactly does that mean? So for 70 years straight, they didn't keep the Shemitah year? They didn't let the land lie fallow?
That sounds right. Because 70 times 7 is 490, right?
Yes. Okay. Now, how do we get 490? Why all of a sudden we're multiplying by 70 years times 7?
Out of every 7 years, right? Now they're supposed to have out of every 7 total years. One of those years is supposed to be to let the land lie fallow.
Okay. So you could say a week of 70 years.
Oh yeah.
The week is 7, and you're multiplying the 7 times 70. All right.
Right. Oh yeah, there you go.
All right. So basically, Daniel is in the 69th year. Okay. You also have to look at Jeremiah. Let's see if I take a look at Jeremiah 25:12.
Okay, go ahead and read it right now because I've got to reconfigure a screen while you do that. Just read it.
Okay, Jeremiah 25:12. And it shall be at the completion of 70 years, I will visit upon the king of Babylon, upon the nation, says the Lord, their iniquity, and upon the land of the Chaldeans, and I will make it for everlasting desolations. So God, after 70 years of the Jews being in exile by the king of Babylon, he's going to basically get rid of Babylon. Okay. That's 25:12. You going to bring it up, or you're going to let that go?
No, just go ahead. I'm still trying to get it set up. Sorry, I thought I messed the screen up earlier.
The next thing I'd like to look at is Jeremiah 29:10. For so said the Eternal, for at the completion of 70 years of Babylon, I will remember you and I will fulfill my good word, Devari, my word toward you to return lahashiv, to return you to this place. Okay, so Leviticus 25:12 and Jeremiah 25:12 and Jeremiah 29:10 set this whole thing up. Okay, Daniel knows about Jeremiah. Daniel reads Jeremiah. It's coming close to the end of the 70 years that God said the Jews were going to be kicked out of the land. He's trying to figure out something because there is a statement made in Leviticus 26:18.
I've almost got it, by the way, so just keep working.
All right. Leviticus 26:18. The quotations were from Jeremiah 25:12 and Jeremiah 29:10. Now I'm saying take a look at Leviticus 26:18.
Okay, go on there now.
If despite this you do not listen to me, then I will punish you 7 times for your sin. Oh, thank you.
26:18, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Leviticus
26:18.
Okay,
yes.
Got it.
Wait.
There you go.
You had it? Okay. All right. 26:18.
Got 10-second lag, remember?
I know.
Okay.
And if you will not yet for this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins. So the question is, 69 years are almost done. Okay, the 70th year is coming. Daniel is trying to figure out, is this the end of the punishment? Or is God going to apply the 7 times of the punishment for your sins? That's his question. That's the whole thing of Daniel 9.
Okay.
That's what's going on here. Okay, Daniel is worried that the 70 years is going to be multiplied times 7, which will get to 490 years, because 70 times 7 is 490. Okay.
Right.
And that's what he's trying to figure out.
Right.
Okay. So in Daniel 9:19, before our major Torah, because before our major portion begins, okay.
Let me go back. I got to switch back over. 9:19. Okay. Right there. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do. Defer not for thine own sake, O my God, for the city and thy people are called by that. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Okay. And whilst I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of God, oh my God. Go ahead.
Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, again, he doesn't understand anything that's going on, and he needs an angel of God, Gabriel, to go explain it to him, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I have now come to give you skill and understanding. Okay? At the beginning of your supplications, the commandment came forth, okay, and I have come to show you, for you are greatly beloved, therefore understand the matter and consider the vision. 70 weeks are determined upon the people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sin and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. And here we go. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem. Who did this translation?
I was wondering when you were going to pick up on that. That's Bible Gateway. Let me pull it up on Chabad.org. I wasn't trying to trick you.
I'm not happy with the Chabad.org translation.
Yeah, but it's better than
Let's see what
the
they
King.
do with this.
It's better than King James.
I hope they know to be careful about this.
All right, hold on one second. I gotta pull that up. 919. Where's my tabs at? There we go. Sorry. Boom. Boom.
See, this is the crux of the matter. What we're going to find while you're pulling this up, okay, is that Daniel is afraid that God's going to apply the 7 times the punishment, and this is going to make it 490 years. And he just wants to know what to expect. Is he done or is he not done?
Right.
Okay, but
okay, I've got it coming up to you.
The issue is, if God is forgiving us, then we get to go back after 70 years.
Right.
But if God's going to apply the punishment of 7 times the 70 years, okay, how does that work?
Right.
What's that look like?
Yep.
Okay.
Wait for it.
So what exactly does Gabriel tell Daniel? He tells Daniel that, in fact, the punishment has been increased 7 times 70 years. And how much is 7 times 70?
490.
490. So 490 years of punishment has been decreed against Israel. Take a look at Daniel 9:24. Go straight to Daniel 9:24.
Okay, 9:21, 23, 24. 70 weeks of years have been decreed. Go ahead. Nope.
70 weeks have been decreed upon your people and your holy city to terminate transgression, to end sin, to wipe away iniquity, to bring everlasting righteousness, to seal vision and prophet, and to anoint the holy of holies. 9:25. And you shall know and understand that from the going out emergence of the word, hadavar, to restore and to rebuild, lahashiv, Jerusalem until the anointed king shall be 7 weeks, and for 62 weeks it will return and be built street and moat, but in troubled times. What exactly is Daniel being told here by Gabriel? Yes, your 70 years has been done. But at the end of 70 years, you can go back to Israel. You can go back to the promised land. Okay. However, even though you're now back in the promised land, you're still being punished for the entirety of the 490 years, not the 70, but the 70 times 7. And even that is divided up. Okay. Let's see.
Said 26. After the 62 weeks. Okay.
Wait. See, this is what bothers the heck out of me. Okay, in verse 25, as you have it on the screen, take a look at this. And you shall know and understand that from the emergence of the word, okay, Motzei Hadavar, to restore and to rebuild Jerusalem until the anointed king shall be 7 weeks. Now go to the Hebrew. Okay, show me where it says the anointed king. And how how do we understand the word anointed?
Just as something that was
What's the word
blessed
for
by the
anointed
oil.
in Hebrew?
No, anointed is Moshe. Yeah, Moshe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So the anointed king should be HaMashiach,
It
right?
says Ad Mashiach. What does it
Right.
mean? Until Mashiach, not until the
Until
Messiah.
an
Right.
anointed prince.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Why do they put the in there? And this is Chabad, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think they should know better?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Isn't this lending itself to Christian usage?
Yeah, it could be. Right.
Because it's HaMashiach, the Messiah.
Right. Right.
Okay. And by the way, who was anointed in the Bible? Who gets anointed?
Kings.
And
priests.
Priests. So it could be not only a king, it could also be a priest. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Shivuim.
Sorry, I took it off screen. My bad. Whoops.
Shivuim. Shishim. What? What did you? Okay.
I was actually going to change screens. You're back.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's fine. Okay. 70 weeks have been decreed upon your people and your holy city to terminate transgression and sin, to wipe away iniquity, bring everlasting righteousness, to seal vision and prophet, to anoint the Holy of Holies. Then in verse 25, okay, and you should know and comprehend from the going out of the word, okay, motzah, davar, lahashiv, okay, motzah, davar, lahashiv. First line of the Hebrew, Teda v'taskel min motzah devar lahashiv. Thank you. Okay. Now, where else do we see that? Where else do we hear about a going out of a word to restore Jerusalem?
The prophets, I guess, and Jeremiah or whatever you said earlier. No, I don't know.
Okay. Go back to, well, you didn't have it up in the first place, but Jeremiah 29:10.
Okay.
So said the Eternal, for at the completion of 70 years of Babylon, I will remember you and I will fulfill my good word, Devari, toward you, Lahashiv, you to this place. When Cyrus of Persia sends out the decree, okay, that they are supposed to return, okay, the decree is Devar, and they're supposed to return to Jerusalem, okay? Jeremiah 29:10. For so said the Lord, for at the completion of 70 years of Babylon, I will remember you and I will fulfill my good word toward you, my good word, Devari, Devar, same word we had, toward you, to restore you, lahashiv etchem el hamakom hazeh, to restore you to this place. So this is a direct reference to Cyrus of Persia telling the Jews, okay, he sends out a decree, okay, motzi hadavar, a word goes out, that's what it says in the 10th verse here, okay, that the Jews are supposed to restore Jerusalem. So now we know the beginning point. Okay, now we know the beginning point of this 490-year problem.
Okay.
Okay? And what's supposed to happen in that 490 years? Okay? What year did, I can't remember. This is why I hate history so much. I just can't remember it well enough. Okay? Daniel is supposed to start counting from the year in which Cyrus of Persia allowed the Jews to go out of Babylon back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. Okay, when he says Motzah Devar Lahashiv, the emergence of the word to return, it's a reference of Jeremiah 29:10. Okay?
Okay.
That's the year that he's supposed to start counting the 70 years. All right? I'm sorry, the 490 years. But the 490 years gets split. Okay. So, look, you got 70 years. I'm moving this for a minute. You got 70 years. I hope you can see this. You got 70 years. Are we supposed to, 70 years where you're facing 70 years, are you supposed to start here and add the 490? Okay. Or are you supposed to start where the first year of the exile starts and add? Okay. So this is the year that Daniel's supposed to start counting. The oath was not to add sevenfold to the original punishment of 70 years, but to increase it, the original punishment, by 7.
Okay.
So the 70 weeks begins at the same time as the 70 years of exile. Then the verse goes on to say, and to build Jerusalem until an anointed prince, not the anointed prince, an anointed prince will be 7 weeks. Please note the original Hebrew does not say the anointed prince. We just showed it to you, even on the Chabad translation, okay, that the word is a anointed prince, okay? So 7 weeks after the destruction of the first temple, Cyrus issues a decree that the exiles can return to Jerusalem. So Daniel only has to wait about a year between the destruction of Babylon until God's royal anointed. Who is God's anointed? Hey, look who I see.
Hi.
I can see Julie. Okay.
Hi, Roman.
Okay.
So,
Rabbi, did you move your mic?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's better.
Okay, so
Thanks.
Daniel has only, he's in the 69th year, he's asking for an interpretation. And Gabriel the angel gives him the interpretation that is 70 years they're going to be allowed to go back, because the decree is going to go out from Cyrus to let them go back.
Okay.
Okay. A year later is when Cyrus of Persia defeats the Babylonians and says to the Jews, go back. And why? When it says an anointed, who is called anointed? Cyrus of Persia is called Messiah.
Messiah. Yeah, Mashiach. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Isaiah 45:1 if you want to look at it.
Yeah, I guess everybody knows Jules is here. I'm glad that worked out. I've never actually had anybody sit there, and it actually works out really good with the backdrop. So that's cool. You're surrounded by love.
Are you
Rabbi.
pulling this up or not?
I can. What do you want? I didn't hear you. I apologize. My bad.
Isaiah 45:1.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed you that. I got you. Yahoo 45. Oh, get back over here. Prophet 45. I thought you were actually going to read it. Okay, 45:1. Oh, yep, there it is, 45:1. And now let me switch screens to here. Okay. You're up.
Okay. So the point is that in Isaiah 45:1, Cyrus of Persia, who's not even a Jew, is called a Messiah. Ko Amar God Limshicho. Okay, Lechoresh to Cyrus. Okay. So said the Lord to his Messiah, to Cyrus, whose right hand I held, to flatten nations before him, and the loins of kings I will loosen, to open portals before him, and gates shall not be closed. So Daniel only had to wait a year between the destruction of Babylon, which was 70 years, so it's the 69th year, until in Isaiah 45:1, Cyrus of Persia, who's called God's anointed, gives the Jews permission to return to Jerusalem and rebuild it. Problem is that the majority of Jews didn't go back to Israel. They didn't go back to the promised land under Cyrus of Persia. They had made their life in the diaspora, in the exile, in Babylon. They had a great life and didn't want to leave it to go back to Jerusalem. People kind of forget that. There's a whole history of the Jews of Babylonia. There's a whole history of the Jews all over the Babylonian, then Persian, Who am I missing? Greek, Roman world.
Right.
You know, by the time Jesus was born, and 80% of the world's Jews didn't live in Israel and couldn't have cared less about the temple because they had a great life in the diaspora and didn't feel it necessary to go back. Okay, but what does the prophecy say in Daniel? It says, for 62 weeks it'll be rebuilt, street and moat, but in troubled times. And Jerusalem and the temple were built and built up and rebuilt and renovated and added to, etc., etc. And how long? Till the second destruction in the year 70. The 62 weeks were very troubled. The Jews hardly had a moment of peace with all the destruction raging, things needing rebuilding, renovating constantly. You had, what did I just say? Besides Persia, you had, there's a minor one in there, and then there's Greece, then there's Rome. You got all these troubled times taking place. Okay? And then it says, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So where is it that the Christians have taken the two separate years and conflated them together as if it was all one unit of 70?
Because they're doing everything they can by spin, misinterpretation, mistranslation, adding the word "the" to the word Messiah, making it look like it's all about their Jesus.
Right.
Okay? So what did we say earlier about who gets anointed? Kings get anointed. Yeah. The Messiah gets anointed.
Now, of course, Jesus is both.
Prophets get anointed.
But Jesus is both king and priest.
Yeah. Different topic.
Sorry.
Okay, but you can't be king and priest at the same time. All priests had to be from the tribe of Levite, a subset of the priest. A subset of the Levites who were the direct descendants of Aaron, the brother of Moses. Whereas kings had to be from the tribe of Judah, direct descendants of David through Solomon without going through Jehoiakim, Jeconiah, or Shealtiel, as we discussed in other things. Okay. At the time of the destruction of the temple, okay, who was the king of Israel? There wasn't one. Okay. At the time of the second destruction of the temple, who was the number one prophet? There wasn't one. So it's got to be talking about a priest. Okay. Who are the priests that were cut off? And what does it mean cut off? It means they lost their position. The Sadducees were the people who ran the temple. The Sadducees were the ones in cahoots with Rome. Okay. A person who was a priest, and eventually, even if you weren't a Kohen, you weren't a priest, if you had enough money, you could buy the job from Rome to become the high priest of the temple. Okay. The temple was their power base. Without the temple, they had no power. Okay. They were nothing. Okay. Wait, did we even talk about it? I don't know if we talked about it. I don't think we talked about it. Go to, let's see. Daniel 9:26, and after the 62 weeks, an anointed one will be cut off, and there will be nothing to him. Ve'ein lo. Okay. Ein lo means nothing to him. Ein doesn't exist. Le, to. The O part, lo, is nothing to him. Okay? And the city and the sanctuary will be destroyed by the people and the prince who comes, but his end shall come like a flood until the end of war desolation is decreed. So Daniel 9:26, properly translated, and after these 62 weeks, which 62 weeks? Okay. Here you got it. And after the 62 weeks, the anointed one will be cut off and he will be no more. Okay. Ein lo, no more. And the people of the coming monarch will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and his end will come about by inundation. And until the end of the war, it will be cut off into desolation. Okay. So Daniel 9:26, okay, tells us who's cut off. The priests were cut off, In the year 70, the temple was destroyed. The Sadducees, who were the priestly group, who were under the thumb of Rome, who were put in position by Rome, were cut off because, the temple was destroyed. Okay. Let's see. No, by the way, what's left now of the Sadducees? What group is now the Sadducees? There are none. Okay. Mm-hmm. The only surviving group from that period, when you had Pharisees, Sadducees, Zealots, who am I missing? Essenes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Am I missing somebody? Did I say Zealots?
Yes.
Well, the Zealots tried to win a war against Rome, and they got squashed like a bug. That's one. Okay. The Sadducees had the temple as their seat of power. The temple was destroyed. They lost out. Okay. The Essenes were the lunatic fringe who took themselves into the desert, violating Jewish law left and right. And Altifrosh Minat Zibur, do not separate yourself from the community. They went out into the wilderness. The first thing they did was they made celibacy the rule, violating the first commandment to be fruitful and multiply. The only ones left were the Pharisees, an act of God, because God is saying that Pharisaic Judaism is the only one that survived, which became Rabbinic Judaism. Mm-hmm. So now what happens is that, and I've seen this, and it makes me laugh, but it makes me, I don't know, what's the word, incredulous? Okay, because Christians, in order to make this timing not be the year 70, will invent this idea about, you see, there was a religious year. Instead of 365 days, it was 360 days. So if you multiply 360 days in a year, then it'll shorten it enough to be about the time of Jesus. Do you realize what happens if you use the 360-day year instead of a 365-day year? In 10 years, you're 50 days off. Okay, holidays that are supposed to be in the spring, like Passover in, let's say, April, 50 days before that is almost 2 months. That means your holiday is going to be taking place in February instead of April, when the Bible explicitly commands that Passover is in the spring. Okay, Ramadan, the Muslim month-long holiday that's actually patterned off of Yom Kippur, but that's another issue. Okay, moves through the year 10 days, not 5, but 10 days off. And that's why, in 6 years, okay, it's 2 months earlier. Okay, it moves through the seasons. It's not always in the season. 10 years down the road, it'll be in a different season. Okay, so the same thing that they're saying has to happen in order to get their timing correct of the 490 years is, starting at this date, and it's you know what Occam's razor is?
I've heard about what it is.
Occam's razor is actually Occam's law. I'm not sure how razor gets to be a law, but Occam's razor means that if you take the simplest explanation for something, that will be most likely the actual explanation for something. Simple, down-to-earth, obvious explanation will tend to be the actual explanation for whatever it is you're trying to explain. And Occam's razor, instead of having to manipulate, when does this begin? When, not at the decree going out, which is Cyrus of Persia. They'll make up something else. Okay. Not just simply at the 70-year destruction of, the year 70, the destruction of the Second Temple. Okay. When the end of the priesthood, priests were anointed. Okay. They're going to make it look like it's 360-day years. So to make it calculate, the simple, obvious explanation is as I described it. Okay? Mm. And they can manipulate all they want to. They can lie about the translations all they want to. They can say the anointed one instead of an anointed one. Okay? They can ignore the fact that it says the 62 weeks instead of a 62. It's all spin.
Right.
And the simple explanation is the one I just gave. So, and I'm not even sure I did justice to it, because to me it's very, very complicated and doesn't have to be.
It is.
Okay?
I know there's there's an aspect where there's 62 and 7 is supposed to be separated in two separate events, but Christianity has taken them and conflated the two together as if it was one unit.
And if I remember correctly, it says 7 years and then 62 years or something like that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So.
Right. But again, I think that's why make it so complicated?
Right.
Okay. The 70 years of the exile gives back the land at 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for a long period of time, the seventh year that was supposed to let the land lie fallow didn't lie fallow. And now God is giving back the land its Shemitah, its rest. And then at the end of that 70 years, okay, you got the 62 weeks and, all that stuff leading up to the year 70 when the temple was destroyed and the priests got cut off.
That's what I was just fixing to ask you about.
Fits.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, what?
That's what I was just fixing to bring up and ask you about. So the destruction of the second temple, 70 CE. So what's the deal with Christians saying that the reason why, and this is what I don't understand, they say the reason why God destroyed the second temple is because they rejected Jesus, right? Or because Jesus is coming, they executed him. Well, if that was true, it seems like he missed it by about 30 years, right?
Right, which is, and Jesus supposedly died in the year 33 when he was 33 years old.
The temple was destroyed in 70.
27 years later, okay, was 70, the year of the destruction of the temple. So they're doing everything they can to make it 30 years earlier.
Right. And so, but they didn't even go that far. They just simply try to use that as a reasoning. But my logic is so either Jesus missed it or God missed it because they didn't land at the same place. They should have landed. Both events should have happened at the same time if what they're saying is true.
Manipulation, Deanna. That's exactly right. I'm sorry. Say it again.
I just said that they should have landed at the same time, the destruction of the temple and the death of Jesus. Because, they make the big deal of how the veil of the temple was torn and the heaven and the earth shook. But there's no
and
no
what
evidence.
Earthquake are they talking about, and why did no other historian mention any kind of earthquake,
right.
or the sun standing still, or the Star of Bethlehem, or anything else?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, see, Big Shmoo says the Messiah being cut off in Daniel 9 is Agrippa. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Christo, very funny. The Sadducees, when they lost out, were sad, you see.
That's funny. Funny and true. Everybody should open up the phone lines. Is it too late?
No, I don't think it's too late. It's not even 8 o'clock. Oh, wait. I keep thinking we started. It's so weird. All right.
That's funny. We've got about 15 minutes left, technically, if you want to chop it up by the right time. Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good. All right. We are officially logged in and signed on. The phone lines are open 855.
I don't even feel like I did that justice. I really don't.
Logged
it's
in.
Just very complicated and very. And it doesn't have to be.
Whoa, hold on. I've got too much going on right now. Wait a second. Hang on. Something's playing in the background that I don't know what it is. Hang on. Too much going on right now. A YouTube video is playing on one of my 6 screens, and I got to figure out where it's at. Hang on. 1 second. Oh, I think that was it right there. Nope, that wasn't it. And this is muted, so it can't be that one. Hang on just a minute. Where are you, Romeo? But it's over here somewhere. Yeah, that's it right there. Cool. Okay, it's good. All right, caller, welcome to the show. Please tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
Name is Shmuel.
Shmuel, what's up, brother? How are you, my man?
I'm from New York.
Yes, you are.
Thanks, God, and you?
Very good. Baruch Hashem, indeed.
I'm glad to hear that. I don't know if this was mentioned or not because I walked in a little bit late, but the calculations, I think is very important to note, start from the time that God spoke. That's what Daniel 9 verse 1 explicitly says.
Okay.
That's the going forth of the word.
Okay.
I don't know if that was pointed out or not, because that really answers all the questions as to how we can
how to calculate. And that's what. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. And the Christians manipulate when to start, when to end, how to divide it up, do everything they can in order to make it their Jesus.
Right.
Right. It's very clear. It's 490 years calculation. The temple stood for 420 years. The exile was 70 years. Bingo! You have it. It's so simple. I don't know where the twisting and the turning has to come from.
Christianity, because it's the only way they can get it to wind up being Jesus.
Yeah.
But even according to their own calculations, it would still come out wrong.
Right, but that's when they start doing this stupid 360-day years.
Where does that come from, you think?
It comes from the need to manipulate the numbers so that it lands on the right spot for Jesus.
Kind of like they did with the genealogies.
They make it up
in the
out
Gospels.
of thin air. There's no reason to have a 360-day year, and they make it up because it's the only way they can get where they want to go.
But what's their... Let's play devil's advocate for the moment. What's the source idea of 360? Why don't they say it's 757?
Because they have to say somewhere around 365, because that's how long a year actually is, and they can't come up with 500 and whatever you said, because that would be 2 years almost. They have to have it somewhere around 365 days, because that's an actual year. So they just chop off 5 days.
Mm-hmm. But it seems to be totally
the old
arbitrary.
line about stabbing the tree with the arrow and then drawing the target around it. That's what they're doing.
It's no different than how they tried to figure out in the genealogies in the New Testament, how they recall, from Adam to Seth or Adam to so and so was this many generations, and from here to here was this many generations, and from here to here was this many generations, to show the intent of Jesus being in that number diagram. But they don't tell you is they leave out a couple generations to make those numbers work. To say it's the same exact.
So you're saying it's literally totally arbitrary. 360 was picked out of a hat.
That I don't know anything about,
because that's the number they needed in order to calculate it. Figures don't lie, but liars figure, and that's what they picked out of a hat because it matched their birth of their Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they were reverse engineering, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, definitely reverse engineering.
Exactly. They're shooting the arrow at the tree and then drawing the circle around it to show that it was a bullseye.
Okay. I understand. Obviously, I don't agree, but at least there is some logic to the concept.
Yeah, the logic is illogical. It's called spin and manipulation.
Right. Okay. I see. Okay. I just couldn't figure out where they got 360. I heard once before that there's a claim that based upon the years according to the flood. I've heard this from Christians that say something about from the years from the flood those years are called 360 days, and so therefore those are called biblical years. I've heard that terminology used before, but I never got it. I never understood where it came from. I mean, the truth is, what I think Christians are missing, which I think is key to how the calculations of months work, is that the Jewish calendar is not a combination of of lunar and solar, and the alignment that's done is, and how the months are calculated is that there's one every other month. In other words, there's 29 days in one month, and the following month is 30 days. The following day is 20, and the following month is 29. The next month is 30, and it keeps on going. It's a cycle like that. But since the lunar year is only 354 days, and the solar year is 365 and a quarter days, there's a discrepancy between the two. I know you kind of touched upon this, but it's important to understand that the biblical, when we're talking about biblical years don't change because they're from the Bible. It's still, the sun still rotates, around the earth, or the earth around the sun, depending on how you understand things. It still does it within 365 and a quarter days. It makes no difference if it's biblical or not biblical.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Not to mention the fact that if you follow their 360-day thing, the holiday would move through the seasons like Ramadan does.
Right, that's correct.
5
that's
days early every year, which means after 10 years, it's 50 days off, almost 2 months. So Passover, which commanded in the Bible to be in the spring, would wind up being in February.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Right. That's why we add the 13th month to the year. Right. 7 out of 19 years actually has 13 months.
Yeah, it's called the Matonic year.
It's kind of because your secular birthday and your Hebrew birthday will actually match up every single 19 years to the exact day.
Nice.
Yep.
Very good. All right, Shmuel, thank you, brother, for calling in, man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the insight.
Have a good one, man.
You too, man.
Bye-bye.
You too.
All right. All right, phone line's back open. Got a few more minutes. 855-95-BIBLE. If you're wanting to call in and say hi to Miss Julie from Alaska, our dear friend. I think you said somebody asked earlier, is that his wife? I'm like, no. My wife is, unfortunately, is doing homeschool with the children right now. So I figured we would hijack Julie, get her over here so everybody could see her. So anyway, she came all the way from Alaska, hanging out with us. Had a great show, or a great appearance the other night with Rabbi and some great friends that Julie had managed to connect us all together. So it was quite amazing. It was nice. So, all right. Well, the phone line is open and ain't nobody calling in. So you got just a couple minutes. And
if I understand Frank the Tank's question, I think the answer is yes. The days that Gabriel gave to Daniel at the end, are they based on the laws of Shemitah, same as the weeks of years? If I understand your question correctly, I'd say yes. Remember, like Shmuel just said, okay, the year is 365 and a quarter, give or take, days. That's the science. You can't get around that. So 360 days can't be correct, if I understand your question correctly. Right. Yasmin, they have a square peg fit in their round hole. Yeah. Yeah, why would they change math? Math is math. Mr. Incredible on Incredibles 2.
That's funny. Okay, there's a... for questions.
There, although, yeah, whatever. Alex Wright, 360 is a gematria value for JC. Yeah, when you get a number like 360,
What?
Every so often you're freezing, William.
Am I? It's probably going to be...
Yeah, 360 is gematria value for JC. It's also a gematria value for about 100 different other words, some of which probably aren't very pleasant. So...
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. All right, well...
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for tonight, Rabbi.
That's fine. By the way, your voice is raspy. I hope you're feeling okay.
Yeah, I need to let my voice rest is what the deal is, because it's been rough, and I've had a couple work jobs I've had to do. So I just need to stop talking for about a week, if that's possible.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, right? That ain't going to happen. Julie's like, his mouth is too big. He can't shut up. That's okay. Very cool. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Rabbi, thank you for your time. And all you guys, hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. See you on this side. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Peace.
Absolutely.
Oh, I missed it.
אתם תמיד כולם ביחד, חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, השאיפה והכמיהה. אני אתה אתם תמיד כולם ביחד, חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו